Trending with the Tribune is your leading statewide source for unforgettable news about African Americans and other communities of color. We are a quarter of a century old and serve the areas of Knoxville, Jackson, Chattanooga, and Memphis. Brought to you by the Tennessee Tribune newspaper, published weekly by the Tennessee Tribune Publishing Company. Here's another edition of Trending with the Tribune, hosted by Miss June. Welcome to another edition of Trending with the Tribune. I am your host, June of Let's Talk, all things business, speech, and motivation. And as you know, Nashville has a big election coming up, and we have a lot of great things going on. So today my guest is Pastor Howard Jones. He is a Nashville native, a graduate of Tennessee State University, and also pastor of a church here in Goodlettsville, Tennessee. That church is Fairfield Missionary Baptist Church. He is also the assistant principal at John F. Kennedy Middle School. And Pastor Jones is running for the seat for District 19 that is rich in culture and diversity. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Awesome. Well, of course, we have to first start with the big question. And that big question is Thelma Harper. She is leaving some big shoes to fill. She was the holder of the seat for District 19. And everyone certainly wants to know, are you intimidated by running for that seat? Because those are some big shoes to fill.
Well, I call it a large hat to fill, actually. Am I intimidated? I think it's the right time for me to take that baton and go forward. I recall the person who held the seat before Senator Harper, which was the Honorable, pardon me for a second, Avon Williams. And I had opportunity to sit down and converse with them, which was great. And I grew up in the community with Senator Harper at Haynes Manor, and I lived down the street from her at this particular point. So I'm honored to be able to take that baton. I am ready, eager, and have a vision for the community, and I think we can and we will win together.
Okay, now that's the confidence that District 19 has been looking for, and of course District 19 needs. Now, it's very diverse. I know that we have, we start all the way at one end of Bordeaux and everything in between to include Jefferson Street, very diverse, all the way to the area that covers the HBCUs. But with all this in mind, what is the strategy for crime reduction?
Education. If we truly educate the citizenry, our sons and our daughters here in the state of Tennessee, it will reduce crime. In the 37208 area, we find that 70% of those persons have gone to the penitentiary. If we look at the data with our students and disaggregate it in terms of our African American males, we find that it's beyond a tale of two cities. When we look at the 16% proficiency rate at McKissick Middle School, and that feeds into Pearl Cone, then we will find quickly what's going on with our kids and our students and crime in this particular area, gentrification, and then looking at what's happening with the police department and building a proper relationship with the police department, because we need to understand that the police work for us, and so we've got to build that camaraderie and that communication piece. We've got to do that.
Okay, now I know that education, economic development, and safety, all of that plays together, and I did hear you say the police. So what is that vision to weave and connect all three of those elements together?
Well, we've got to have common sense education in this state of Tennessee. We've got to teach more and test less. We've got to go back to some common sense educational practices. For instance, when I was coming up, it was nothing for you to come out of high school with a certification in cosmetology, brick masonry. You can come out and be actually employable. You know, you'd be work ready coming out of high school. And we've got to go back to some of those common sense practices. Also, we need to step it up a little bit, because if our students are academically excelling, then if they're taking upper level courses, then it should be dually aligned. They should be getting college credit along with high school credit. Many of our kids that are in middle school, for instance, they should be taking high school credit courses. But we've got to set that standard high and build a relationship with the parents and help parents understand how to help their children study. So, and our community needs to understand that schools belong to the community and not to the principal, not to the teachers. It belongs to us. It's a we the people concept. We've got to get back to ownership.
Okay, now in regards to getting back to ownership, ownership takes money. Now, how will you lobby for funding for this ownership and these programs? Because that's going to take some funding.
Well, I appreciate the question that you pose in terms of funding. I would not suggest that we seek for EBT card, because we look at the portion of money that we spend in terms of sales taxes that we disproportionately pay in the state of Tennessee. We're not asking for welfare. We're just asking that we hold each dollar accountable. For instance, I would not oppose charter schools, but we need to hold charter schools accountable in terms of the educational process. I was talking to some people, and sometimes charter schools send their kids back to their zone schools around January, and public schools, of course, are responsible to educate those kids. But if you went to the store, for instance, and purchased a bag of potato chips, and you found out there was nothing but air in that bag of potato chips, what would you want to do? You'd go back and ask for your money back, or ask for another bag of chips, or something to that effect. Well, what happens is when our kids are in some schools and they're there from August to December and they're sent to their zone school, it's as if they just have air in their head instead of the substance that they need. We need to hold charter schools accountable for actually teaching and learning.
Okay, well, that leads us into strengths and weaknesses. Now, like any district, there are going to be strengths and weaknesses in a district. Now, from your political perspective, what would you say are the strengths and weaknesses in District 19, and how would you, let's say, improve the weaknesses and maximize the strengths?
Okay. I think the strength in this district, surely it encompasses the Gulch, downtown Nashville. I think it's probably one of the most wealthiest districts in the state of Tennessee, without a doubt. Nashville itself is the it city. So you have all of this robust economic development that's going on. But what we need to do is strategically begin to look at those areas that are blighted. We look at what's going on between 18th and 28th. We look at what's going on Clarksville Highway. If we look at what's going on even in the Antioch area and some of the Madison pieces, and we take up a small portion of Madison, then I think we could begin, as some of the leaders in the past, we brought Bud Adams here with the Titans. So surely we could begin to court economic development in the blighted areas of the 19th district. So in this wonderful it city, what we must do is have a vision for all of us and not just some of us.
Okay, now let's look at it city. The Titans are winning. No, well, they were winning. The hockey team, they were winning. And then you have so much culture with the CMAs and all of the music. But then the citizens cannot afford housing. So how can District 19 benefit from this it city? How can they benefit?
Well, again, you pose some interesting questions, and I appreciate it. When we have leadership that would take MDHA money, Metro Development Housing Authority money, with the leadership that's within our community, and they take $1 million of that money and send it to Hospital Corporation of America, that's corporate welfare. We've got to stop that. I would say I would lead that. I would absolutely oppose that type of development, because with $1 million, what could we really do and help those persons that need affordable housing? We could truly I think we could do a bang-up job. Instead of giving $1 million to HCA to buy furniture, we could begin to develop housing in this great city.
Now, in order to afford the housing, you have to have a job. So what would your vision be in regards to, let's say, jobs for the community?
Yes.
And then with the community, let's talk about community enhancements as well.
Okay. Well, we started, and when I share things with you in terms of our platform, I'm not just talking about something that has not been done. When we look at Kingdom Cafe and Grill, we started Kingdom Cafe and Grill, and we employed persons that were previously convicted, giving them an opportunity not just to work in the restaurant, but also build it with the HVC, the HVAC system, and the construction and the remodeling of that restaurant on Jefferson Street. We could do more of that, and then at the same time educate and prepare our sons and our daughters in the schools to actually be job ready.
So you will implement programs to help them go into the workforce after high school graduation.
What I would like to do is encourage legislation and produce legislation that would make it more conducive for businesses to hire those persons. And then also we would need some criminal justice reform so that we won't have just people that have made a mistake and they continue to make mistakes in the community, which is fueling the opioid situation and many that are dealing with heroin and the drug issues that are in our community. So we've got to begin to address those things for the good of all of us. But without a vision, the people perish. And because I have this vision, I'm running for state senate of the 19th senatorial district to make a difference specifically and without question.
Okay, so we've talked about the Kingdom Cafe?
Kingdom Cafe and Grill, yes.
That provided jobs for individuals coming from the prison system.
Prison system and just basically live in the community that are locked out, left out, and just without hope.
Okay. Now, what about community enhancements, such as maybe trees or better systems to remove the garbage or pick up litter? What type of vision for community enhancements?
Well, something that we have, and I guess I'll announce it here, even if you look at some of the areas that we have, the housing that we have, even on Jefferson Street. On one portion, it looks great. Another portion, not so great. We've got to literally begin to pull people in to make a difference with that. The beautification should be done. It's amazing that on Jefferson Street you have the light poles that are here. You have some trees that are here. But sometimes some areas of our community is not kept. And I know I'm running for state senate, and some of the things that we're talking about is definitely city related. But I live in this city and have always lived in this city, and will continue to press to help and encourage and to lead that it would be beautiful. If you go into Kingdom Cafe, for instance, it's a beautiful place. You would say, wow, is this on Jefferson Street? We want to encourage that. We're going to also, we have planned to add to that building and begin to put residential properties above it. So we want to take it up 5 levels. And I'm praying and hoping at the same time that we will have offering some leadership to do the same thing with the Elks Lodge. So it'll be a beautiful place.
Okay. Speaking of felons, what is your viewpoint in regards to gun control? As you see on the news, there are so many unarmed African Americans falling victim to police gunfire. And then there are the body cams that are turned off or tampered with. What is your opinion on that from the political perspective?
I think we need an oversight committee, a commission. We need to have that oversight commission, and we need more community policing. I think what happens, all police are not bad, but they're fearful. And when they are not familiar with the segment or think they're familiar with the segment of the community, then you'll find that they are more apt to hurt, harm, hinder those persons that they're afraid of. When I was a young man, I knew the police officer that worked in the community, worked my area. So that helped, and that helps tremendously. So, but we need desperately an oversight commission. In terms of gun control, I am a card-carrying, pistol-toting pastor.
Okay, well, on that note,
yes,
since we know that, in regards to...
and I must say that I support that amendment, but there are some weapons out there that are weapons of mass destruction. And we need to make sure we have some common sense pieces about that. But we should not allow, and Mike, again, you're bringing my spiritual piece in this. I think a person that doesn't take care of their family, they're worse than an infidel. And so we should take care of our community. I intend to take care of my son, my daughter, and all those who are part of my family in the community.
Okay, well, I know where to go to church and pray, and I know that the pastor is packing, the
Well,
Bible and,
well,
and his little friend, to say the least.
and I must say to you, we've had conversation with the men that never should someone come in, and if someone's afraid of someone that comes in to worship, sit them next to me. Or definitely the men in there should not, we should never imagine that someone comes into the church and they shoot people and they're just going to come in and everybody's hiding up under the pew and being shot down. And the same way with schools.
Okay. Now, Pastor Jones, votes win elections. Now, why should the community members come out and vote for you specifically for the seat for District 19?
You should vote for me because I have a vision for the community. You should vote for me because we need a change. You should vote for me because the question I ask, if you are the keeper of the garden and the weeds are high, perhaps you're the reason for that. And so we can't just say, oh, vote for me because I'm a friend or this person's a friend or you've been in that office. I suggest that you look at my record of service. I've been a servant leader. You need to look at that. And all I want to do is serve. This position is not a position where it is one of a profession, a professional politician. It was never designed that way. It only pays $22,000 a year. So it should be one that someone has a heart to serve with results in the community. I'm asking for the citizens of this great state to vote for me, vote for us, so that we'll have a change in education, a change in the economic strata of our area, to indeed begin to have serious housing strategies that will indeed take place where it will be a difference. I just want to make a difference in the community.
Okay, now is there anything that the community may not know, or anything that you would like to tell the community in particular? Now is your time. Is there anything at all that you would like to tell the community?
Well, first and foremost, I want to thank the Tennessee Tribune, Ms. Perry, and you for doing this. It means a great deal, and I thank you for just getting this word out. I've been in this community. I've born, raised, reared. I have not left this community. I live in the 1st Councilmanic District on Clarksville Pike. I'm not leaving. I'm not moving. I want to help stop our people being sent out to Antioch because they can't afford housing in this particular area. I think we can do it. We can and we will win together. My name is Howard Jones. I'm running for State Senate of the 19th Senatorial District. I want to serve you. Thanks.
There you have it. This has been another edition of Trending with the Tribune, and I'm your host, June, of Let's Talk All Things Business, Speech, and Motivation. Be sure to visit the website at www.tntribune.com. Thank you for joining us for this edition of Trending with the Tribune. To be a guest or advertise, please send your email to sales1501@gmail.com.